aliingia, it's obviously the 2 years hakuwa na vision, and where there's no vision and you cannot exert a vision, what you do is you abuse and plunder, and that is what becomes inevitable. That is why, let me tell you, 2 years into Ruto's administration, Sijuzi, he was named the second most corrupt person in the world. 2 years into the administration. What does that tell you? Aliingia hii kiti and he vied in 2022, bereft of a vision. Hakuwa na vision, and you cannot execute what you do not have. Logic does not exist in a lacuna. Kenyans understand issues. Kenyans are brilliant. Kenyans are different in the way they articulate issues. Kenya is a beautiful country with educated people, learned people, intelligent people who know what is wrong with this country. And like I said, it is our brain that is confounding these people. It is our brain, like Buka said, that we should consolidate in a way that can help us. Number one, on Richard Otieno, our comrade who died in Molo, I actually called his wife 2 days after the news broke out to try and reach out to her with her permission, seeking her permission if I can set out a pay bill on my timeline to help her. But because of, I understand probably because of grief, she never responded. So I don't know how we can go about this. Probably we can brainstorm rather about this, but I believe it's something that we should undertake as comrades. He's a father, and that is why in my initial submission, I was very miffed when I was saying people are telling us, oh, wacheni kuweka baba za watu hivi. I mean, Richard Otieno was a father of 2 very young kids. He was a father also. And he also had a father. And this is why sometimes I get miffed with some of these explanations, and like I mentioned, and how I frame them to be very simplistic avenues of seeking sympathy and getting us to recede on our firepower, that watakufanyia hivi baba ya mtu. Richard ni baba ya mtu. Look at the kids ameacha. Anyway, like I've mentioned, I tried reaching out, but the woman is grieving. Probably we can try reaching out through someone else, maybe a brother, somebody, but whatever we are trying to do to reach out to that family and mobilize, set up probably a kitty for those kids, because I think the firstborn ako kindergarten or something, na ako shule saizi. Mtoto asikose kwenda shule because wameweka baba yake shoka. Things like that. My final remarks, and I want to make it as brief as I can and with clarity, because I'm very sorry. First of all, let me apologize for taking much of everyone's time. Next time I'll do better. It's only that I've not spoken to Kenyans verbally for eons. It's been such a long time, and I had all these things just brimming and boiling. I just needed to let it out. Providence bestows upon every generation a burden. Every generation has a burden that is bestowed upon them by Providence. Now, it is incumbent, and the onus is on this generation to decipher that burden and execute it. And from where I sit, our generation has the burden to redeem and restore Kenya. It behooves us to find out how. But Ruto must go. Ruto must go. That is the agenda. I know the NIS and DCI are following this thing, and I intentionally posted it on my timeline that will be on your space so that wajue. So sini yao ndio wanapeleka information.
Yeah, they blocked somebody. They blocked Abdi today. Abdi is saying that he's blocked. He cannot even talk. So I'll try to check on his timelines and everything. I can't see anything.
Information. Like I mentioned, Kenyans have elucidated eloquently and confidently anything and everything that is there to see. Let me tell you, politics, what we have and who we have, and as we have had Kenyans say and speak about, is relics of Kanu. Kalonzo, Ruto, Raila, Mudavadi, Wetangula, Rigathi, all relics of Kanu. We must find a way of getting away from and to do anything and have nothing rather to do with these Kanu relics, and then we'll begin to shape the landscape of Kenyan politics. I mean, Ruto aliingia, it's obviously the 2 years hakuwa na vision, and where there's no vision and you cannot exact a vision, what you do is you abuse and plunder, and that is what becomes inevitable. That is why, let me tell you, 2 years into Ruto's administration, Sijuzi was named the second most corrupt person in the world. 2 years into the administration. What does that tell you? Aliingia hii kiti and he vied in 2022, bereft of a vision. Hakuwa na vision, and you cannot execute what you do not have. Logic does not exist in a lacuna. And people, what is this word that I hear people say, I learned? I'm learning by saying, let us find the means and continue consolidating and brainstorming our minds towards the means that the agenda is Ruto must. Not should, if, when, must. Go. Thank you. Ruto's regime, my dear friends, is innately fiendish. They are inherently iniquitous. They only hear. And they only hear when you draw caricatures. They only hear when you protest, when you draw cartoons, when you brew tea like Aoko does, when you come up with vampire diaries like Morara does, or when you put them in caskets and coffins. Please note that I use the word they hear. They do not listen. Because you hear to react, but you listen to respond. Response is a consequence of sitting down and analyzing the situation at hand. Watoto, hii kitu wanafanya kwa nini? And how should we respond? But reaction comes from impulse. You know, when you are a fool, because that is what fools do. Take, for instance, the contentious Finance Bill 2024. They wanted to smuggle it because they wrongly judged that we are illiterate, we are apolitical, we don't know politics, we will not read it, So they believed that we will not notice this stark fiscal injustice. Ole wow. We read it. Not only did we read it, we understood it. And then we were like, nah, apana. We repudiated this document in its entirety.